Hey everyone, it's James in the lab. Welcome to our very first episode of GABintheLAB. I'm here with Kwame. Kwame is a full-time professional engineer by day, real estate investor by, I guess, the rest of the time.
Yeah.
He's an entrepreneur, loves teaching people about financial literacy, and he loves everything to do with real estate, business, and as well being able to provide advice on really anything business. He's been a close friend of mine for the past couple of years. Really have known him before even he went into investing. So I'm really excited to do this. How are you, Kwame?
I'm doing good, James. Thanks for the intro, man. Really appreciate it.
Awesome. So today we're just going to talk about really what I think a lot of people getting too encapsulated on is this person is a real estate investor. This person is a entrepreneur. This person does this. And we kind of fit people in these boxes, but I'm trying to do something a little bit different. I'm trying to get out of that and really just focus on yourself and how you got into what you're doing, what you're passionate about, because I don't think you were born being passionate about real estate. So really just kind of going through there. So number one, what are you passionate about, Kwame?
Personally, for myself, with everything I do, it basically comes down to one, if I can help people and if I can apply myself creatively in a facet that could help facilitate change or just progress within the community. So that's basically what my passion is about. Like some people focus on specific items, but I kind of take this holistic approach, which kind of leads me to different rabbit holes that
Yeah.
lead to self-discovery and help people. Yeah.
Okay, so then why real estate?
So real estate, it's a number of things. So basically, it kind of came down to one, my love for numbers. Obviously, it's something
I
that
think that's an
mathematics.
engineering thing.
Yeah, it's an engineering thing, basically. The numbers definitely attracted me when I started out. Also, having been in like civil engineering, like you deal with like buildings and stuff, it's like, okay, you can provide both service to people in the community and also improve where they're living. So it's kind of a combination of bringing in my creative side and my technical side to provide a unique product for people. And
Mm,
then obviously you get into the wealth creation and how
yes.
you're able to build upon your finances with it. But primarily, it was those mixing the technical and creativity together to produce something special.
So then how'd you start?
That's one hell of a story. But to give you a quick summary of it, basically, I it was an idea I had back when I was in my second year of university. It was my first time renting, and the rent went up, and I was like, "Oh, this is new."
Yeah.
And my curious mind was like, "Huh, I wonder how much these buildings cost." And I checked up the price, compared the rent. I was like, "Holy smokes, this guy is making like serious money here for a very decent product." But at the time, obviously, I was a broke student, couldn't push
Weren't we
it even.
all?
Yeah. So fast forward to, I guess, 2019. I kind of got into a space where it's like I found a job that I was okay with, I was
Mm,
comfortable with, but it was a routine. It was basically go to work, come home, watch Netflix, sleep, get up, go again. But my bank account wasn't reflecting anything I was doing. So initially, I was going to start a different business. But as I was about to launch that, my dad approached me and said, "Hey, I don't think like you seem to have everything down for this, but I think you want to do something else." And then
yeah.
real estate popped up again, and then he's like, "Okay, what's next?" And I pretty much took it from there. Got my first property within 7 days of switching my idea to move to real estate.
Yeah.
Obviously, and yeah, pretty much took it from there. Obviously, I had tons of support from like friends and people that met prior to being a real estate investor. That kind of like propelled my journey that way. But that's generally how I got started in real estate.
Nice. So where do you see yourself with all of this in, I guess, 5 years?
So in 5 years, obviously, looking to be in a position that definitely better than today or the day before. Basically, be my kind of goal with getting into real estate is to provide myself with options. Really,
Yeah.
that if I want to get into something, financials are not going to be the reason why I'll be like I can't do it.
Yeah.
So basically, in 5 years, I'm hoping that obviously my real estate business is picking up. That's the buy and hold stuff. Most of my properties are stable, cash flowing and stuff like that. And then obviously having like a few active businesses, because again,
Yeah,
once you have the buy and hold, you if you've done it right, like it's not really set and forget it, but like it's operating on its own. But you need that extra sources of income to kind of like keep you going as you go towards like your journey. So yeah,
yeah,
that's kind of like where I'm aiming to, that by 30, it's like, okay, I'm like financially sound to be like, oh, James wants to set up, I don't know, some random business somewhere in a different planet. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I can be an investor. I can take a look at
yeah.
it. Yeah. So kind of be my own Dragon's Den guy.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So then, what would you say would be, because a lot of people want to get into real estate.
Yeah.
It's one of the sectors that's really the flashiest, right?
Hmm.
Everybody wants to get into it, but nobody knows how hard it is to maintain, right? What would you say would be the number one obstacle that you had to overcome to get to the position where you are today?
Number one obstacle for me, obviously everyone has different obstacles they face, but for me was definitely financing, understanding like how a mortgage works, alternatives around like financing outside the bank and stuff like that. Like that was my biggest challenge. And um, basically having people that I could ask those questions
Mhm.
to kind of clarify that. But yeah, financing was the biggest hurdle for me. Again, from deciding whether to do it or not. Obviously, I'm a numbers guy, so
Of
it
course.
was like that. Like that was the easier part, and but that's the part most people struggle with. But then for me personally, going through it, it was definitely financing. So I was definitely lucky to have met people who could assist me through the way to get
Yeah,
me to achieve my goal, and also me holding up my end of the bargain as well,
of
because it's a
course.
two-way street, right? Yeah.
Would you say it was scary the first time?
I mean, there are some days where you're like, oh crap, like this is this actually going to work and stuff, and yeah, like there are like it's not all like rosy and stuff. There are like challenges, obviously, when you're dealing with renovations. You go through, you meet something unexpected. It like takes you like very like unsuspecting. So
Yeah.
when you first start, especially if you're not familiar with the space, it does get scary. Yeah. And
Mhm.
for me personally, like when like referring specifically to the renovations part in my 9 to 5 jobs that I've done, luckily I've been exposed to like renovation work, but it
Yeah.
was still like intimidating for me. It's like even for me who's done it like several times. So you do face that. And then it's like also the whole idea of, oh shoot, I'm taking on all this debt for this. But once you get the ball rolling, your confidence starts to build as you go for it.
Yeah, I think one of the things that in our conversations, I've always been, really inspired in terms of what you're doing is you're channeling your passion into really real estate, right? What would you say to somebody that is trying to channel their passion into anything? What would you say would be the number one thing that's kept you going and motivated, even though you had to take a step of risk? Because obviously there's risk there, right?
Yeah.
Taking that first step of risk, what would you tell that first time person that's like, I want to do this, right? Because really it was in order for you to purchase your first property, it was a game plan. It was obviously execution of that game plan and getting over the certain things, these roadblocks or these speed bumps that
Mhm.
would stop you from getting to where you need to go. Because you
Yeah.
could easily, you could have faced a speed bump and easily turned around,
Yeah.
right? What would you
Yeah.
say to somebody that is trying to figure out what they want to do in life or where they want to be in life and how they can channel their passion into really anything?
Yeah. I think, yeah, like when it comes to that, basically it comes down to identifying like what you really want. Like, for example, you can say you want to go into real estate, but then
Yeah,
there's so many different investing strategies you could do. So if you're not focused on what you want to hone in on,
yeah,
you'll get shiny object syndrome and jumping all over the place, and then you get overwhelmed with the information, right?
yeah,
So primarily like with anything, be it real estate, business, whatever, make sure you're identifying something that resonates with you, not just because other people are doing it so you want to do it. It should be something that resonates with you. And then once you identify that, zero in further and identify what specifically within that space you want to do. Like for example, like with you, you're doing business. There are so many businesses, but
yeah,
then you focused in on like what you're doing with the Hangry group, right?
Yeah,
Like you're not, I don't know, selling something else like
all over
I
the
don't
place,
know,
right?
like
It's like a zeroed in focus, a laser
exactly,
vision focus onto the
yeah.
goal.
Yeah. And then once you zero in, then you're able to absorb information from other people because right now there's a lot of information on whatever you want to do out there.
Yeah,
So if you have a set focus, it's easier for you to pull things from even things that are not related to what you're doing, but it can be adapted to what you're doing. You can pull those in and build yourself from there. But if you're like all over the place, you'll pull all these informations, get overwhelmed, and
yeah,
you won't take the next step. Or once you hit a roadblock, you'll just give up, basically. Yeah.
yeah. What's one word to describe Kwame?
One word, honestly, not to brag about myself, but probably creative. I think I have a mindset
Great
that
word for an engineer.
right.
Yeah, because I have a bunch, Rajiv, our close friends. So for those who
Yeah.
are listening, Rajiv is the guy that actually introduced myself and Kwame. I have a number of engineering friends. In my last video, it's one of the guys that just joined Hangry is also an engineer.
Oh,
So,
nice.
but not creative whatsoever. Like in different ways, like
Yeah.
the way that they do things. I feel it's like meticulous creativity.
Yeah, one thing I kind of say is within like the engineering space, for me
Yeah,
personally, I've noticed that there are two different types of people. You have the people who are like technically like that's their thing, and then you have those who are technical but have a little of creative edge. For example, like at work, I have a coworker who's really smart, but what she does on the side is more artsy stuff. So like printing stuff on bottles,
yeah,
ornaments, and stuff like that. When you see her as an engineer, it wouldn't click in your mind that like, oh shoot, like she's gonna do that. But
yeah,
one thing I find is like in the corporate space for engineers, our creativity level is kind of limited and
yeah,
subdued. So once we're able to find something where it's like we have full creative control, then it's like that's when you kind of see that. But once if you get pigeonholed into like the work routine and stuff like that, you kind of lose that edge. And I mean,
yeah,
there's nothing wrong with it, but if you have that kind of flair, you might as well give it a
yeah.
shot and see how it goes. Yeah.
What kind of content are you consuming right now?
So I'm more of a visual learner.
Yeah.
So I listen to a lot of podcasts,
Who are you listening to?
mainly real estate podcasts. So I
Okay.
have the Andrew Hines podcast, the Rise Network podcast, like various podcasts just to like help me always like fine tune my game
Yeah.
in the space that I'm in as I grow. Also, I watch a couple of YouTube videos. I guess this guy's kind of like more on both sides. So he's real estate, but he's also financial. Graham Stephan, it's pretty good guy who talks about like finances and how to manage your money. So yeah, I mean mainly for consumption, it's YouTube and podcasts
Yeah.
for me.
Do
Yeah.
you see yourself doing real estate forever?
I think I would, but you
Yeah.
never know how things would advance. As I grow, probably take it to the next level. Because one thing I've found in real estate is that once you think you know everything, you don't. Like
Yeah.
there's another level to explore. But even more importantly, within the space, you can do things that aren't necessarily like real estate related,
Yeah.
but help facilitate the space, which is one of my goals this year that I'm looking at because I have the passive side, basically the buy and hold side, all
Yeah.
set up. So now I'm looking at an active component that I can use to kind of like get the ball rolling. So I'm not like just pigeonholed in real estate, but then it's like I can facilitate other avenues as well.
Okay. My last question, Kwame. I
Yeah.
don't know anything about real estate, but I want to get into the game. What's the
Mm.
one piece of advice that you're gonna tell me?
So like basically you want to get into real estate, but you
I
don't know
do.
anything.
I want to buy my first property. I want to be an investor. I want to have like what do you call this? An inventory of multiple homes that I'm renting out, passive income,
Mhm.
all that jazz. What's the first thing that you're telling, first piece of advice that you're gonna give me?
Yeah. So I get this question a lot, and it's similar to my earlier question. It's like basically identify what strategy works best for you.
Yeah,
Like look at all the strategies, pick the one that works best for you, zero in on it, and then just immerse yourself in the space. Listen to podcasts, read books,
yeah.
watch YouTube
Knowledge,
videos.
consume knowledge.
Um, Exactly. Like keep upgrading your mind. And even when you do get your first, keep upgrading your mind
Yeah,
because it's constantly changing. And yeah, like even reaching out to people on Instagram or wherever who are in the space or who are where you want to be. Actually, one of the people that I kind of get tips from said always pick someone where they are currently, like where you want to be, and like get close to them, like
Yeah,
basically be a sponge and absorb knowledge from them and
everything that they
use
learn.
that to
Yeah,
elevate your game. Yeah. So yeah, basically it's identify what you want to do, immerse yourself, and then also, yeah, very importantly, take action, because you can't just consume and sit down
gonna
and
do
be
nothing.
exactly get enough information to feel comfortable and move
I love
forward.
it.
And if you need an extra push, reach out to someone, brainstorm,
Yeah,
like we're having a conversation here, like just chat with someone, and
there you go.
that could be the lever that pushes you to take that next step.
Awesome. Well, Kwame, thank you so much for coming to the first episode. Honestly, I'm so thankful, man. First episode of Gavin the Lab. You know, I'm so thankful for you and your friendship to myself. I know I'm always asking you about questions about real estate. Uh, so, you know, if you guys want to hit up Kwame and really pick his brain as well, his information is going to be in the description. LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, whoever still uses MySpace, you know, everything is going to be there. Thank you so much, everybody. Please like, subscribe. And if you have any questions about real estate that you want to post to Kwame, in the comments below, put it in. I'm sure
Yeah.
Kwame will be happy to respond as well, right? You're going to respond to those comments, right?
Yeah. I will.
Awesome.
I have a YouTube account, so I will. And man, great stuff you're doing here. I really like the trajectory you're taking your channel with, and yeah, like keep it up, man. Definitely looking forward to see how everything plays out.
Awesome. I love it. Thanks so much, Kwame. Anyways, thank you guys so much. First episode of Gab in the Lab. Have a great day.